How's it going, everybody? So this is part 2 of the 5,000 mile maintenance service for your Harley Sportster. This covers all Harley Sportster models. I'm technically doing the 15,000 mile maintenance, but the 15,000 mile maintenance is the exact same as the 5,000 mile maintenance, with one exception. For your 1200 custom, because it has spoked wheels, you're gonna wanna adjust the tension in the spokes. But since all other sporty models don't have the spokes, it's not required. The 15,000 mile maintenance is the exact same as the 5,000 maintenance, with that one small exception. Hi, my name is Joe, and on this channel, I like talking about motorcycles, travel, and how freaking amazing life is. If you like any one of those 3 things, go ahead and click on that subscribe button right now. And so you know when I upload videos just like this, go ahead and click on that bell icon. Part 2 here, we're gonna check the rear brake fluid sight glass. We're gonna inspect the air filter. We're gonna check the oil, fuel, and brake lines. And we're gonna replace the engine oil and filter. So we're gonna start with replacing the engine oil and filter. And to do that, we need to get the bike up to idle speed and temperature. So I'm gonna start the bike up, run it for a little bit, and then go ahead and replace the oil and filter. Now, some people say you need to ride the bike in order to replace the oil, but I live in Wisconsin, and while it is May, it's still cold outside. It's about 45 degrees. I'm not gonna ride in the cold temperatures today, so I think it's perfectly all right to just go ahead and run your bike to idle speed to replace the oil, especially as often as I do it. So let's get started. So I'm gonna start by draining the oil here. It's gonna take a little bit to drain the oil, so as that's going on, I'm gonna step into some other procedures. But let's get started with this. Put your pan underneath where the drain plug is, and this connector here is for my USB plug that I have up in front. I'm gonna do a video probably at some point explaining how I set that up, but I'm gonna unplug that to get that out of the way. And I'm gonna remove the clip holding the hose for the oil drain. And it's just a regular flathead to loosen the clamp. And once you get the clamp loose enough, you just go ahead and pull the drain plug and oil starts coming out. And so it goes a little bit faster. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the oil cap on the oil pan. Now you can see, I haven't ridden my bike a whole lot since I last changed the oil. That's actually caused some of this milkiness here. That's because a lot of water got in through the system. It's not too much of a problem, but definitely when you leave your bike sit, make sure you change your oil often enough. All right, so next I'm gonna go ahead and inspect the air cleaner and filter. Now, like a lot of us who have done the stage 1, I have an aftermarket air cleaner on here. Now, how I remove it is definitely gonna be different than what you probably have in your bike, especially if you still have the stock air cleaner on there. If you do have the stock air cleaner, get the service manual, take a look at that, and follow the steps in there. But what I'm gonna do here is probably pretty similar to what you're gonna do, whether you've done the stage 1 or not. I'm gonna start with taking off the air filter. So what's common with sporties that have the stage 1 completed with them is oil mist comes through the breather bolts. If it pulls up enough, it collects in the filter and can come splashing onto your legs and on your bike. It's just something you gotta deal with if you love Harleys. It's not anything wrong with the bike, it's just part of it. But that requires you to go ahead and clean out the area around the breather bolts and the butterfly mechanism. So that's what I'm gonna do now, is kind of wipe it down. Right here, there's a lot of oil that's pooled up. I'm just gonna kind of wipe that down. Area around the butterfly valve here, all around here. Just kind of get that all cleaned up. Now, I haven't taken off this whole mechanism for quite some time. I'm gonna wait until the 20K-mile service to go ahead and do that. But right now I'm just gonna kind of clean up everything that I can here. Clean up the inside of the cover here. Now, the last time I cleaned and oiled this was when I was on the Route 66 trip in Tucumcari, New Mexico. Honestly, I've probably put on maybe 700 miles, 800 miles since then. I haven't ridden very much. So this is looking pretty good. So I'm just gonna kind of wipe this down, go ahead and stick it back on here. Next, we'll quickly check the rear brake fluid sight glass. And this process is exactly like the front. We'll grab our light, turn it on, we'll go ahead and look at the fluid sight glass here, It's completely full right now, so we're good there. And it looks like we're just about done draining the oil here. But let's go ahead and move on to checking the fuel lines. So what I'll do is just kind of run my hand along the fuel lines here, just make sure there's no abrasions or cuts, make sure there's no leaks at all, and everything is looking pretty good here. That's looking good. So let's do the same thing with the brake lines. Now I have ABS, so I'm also going to check the ABS lines. So just checking here, making sure everything's intact. Looking at the ABS module here, make sure that looks all good. And the brake lines leading up to the front brake here. And let's do the same thing in the rear here. It's looking pretty good. And the rear brake lines here. Master cylinder's looking pretty good. It's looking good. Finally, let's go ahead and replace the filter and put new oil in. So to finish this up, let's go ahead and plug this guy back up. Tighten this up with your flathead screwdriver. There's a torque value on this, but it's so small in the inch-pounds range, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten it up to what I think it should be. I've done this often enough. And we'll go ahead and wrap this back up around here. Clamp it back up. And we'll go ahead and reinstall my USB cable here. There we go. Go ahead and grab the oil pan and put it underneath where the filter will come out. So one problem a lot of guys have is getting oil all over the bike when you remove the filter. So some guys suggest two different tricks. One, putting aluminum foil below that and using it as kind of a guide to filter it down. The other trick is to use some cardboard and just kind of let it stream down. I'm gonna combine those two. Now these K&N filters have an 11/16 end to them, so it's really easy to loosen them up. I'm just gonna loosen it slightly, just enough so I can hand loosen it when I need to. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and slide this little contraption, try to, underneath the filter and starting to loosen it. And as you can see, the oil is draining onto the aluminum foil. All right, now with the new filter, I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil in it, about 4 ounces or so, before putting it onto the bike. I'm not gonna measure, I'm just gonna go ahead and put about 4 ounces in there. That looks about right. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of oil here and put it on the gasket. Then I'll go ahead and hand twist it onto there until it seats. Feels pretty good right there. And then I'm just gonna give it like a 1/4 to a 1/2 turn to tighten. Somewhere right about there should be good. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and put in about 2, 2 1/4, maybe 2 1/2 quarts at the most. All right, before I run the bike, I'm just gonna check for leaks. Looks pretty good, so now I'm gonna go ahead and run the bike, bring it up to idling RPMs, and then check for leaks again. And the last step after running your bike is to go ahead and check the level on your dipstick. And it's looking pretty good there. It's just a little bit over the line there. If I really thought that it was gonna be a problem, I would probably add a little bit more oil, but keeping it low like this reduces the amount of blow-by coming into your filter and onto your pipes and onto your leg. So I'm gonna keep it at this level here. This works pretty well for me. So thanks for watching this video, everyone. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, go ahead and click on that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Lots of fun stuff coming up this summer. Of course, I'm gonna do one last video in this 5K service series. We got the Midwest Moto Meetup. If you don't know about that, or if you do know about it and you're interested in attending, go ahead and click in the link down below. Of course, we have the Discord. Discord is the extension of the community that has grown here. Go ahead and click in the link below. Join the Discord. It's the best way to get a hold of me. And I have a lot of fun chatting with everybody who's part of this growing community. As always, guys, ride safe out there, keep your wheels rolling in the right direction, and I will see you in the next video.